Hello, everyone. My name is Morgan Bound, and I'm with the South Carolina Hospital Association. I'm very excited to be with y'all today at the HOSA State Leadership Virtual Conference. Very exciting. I'm here to discuss healthcare career opportunities of the future and industry needs in South Carolina. So let's get started. For a little bit of background information on who I am and what I do, I am the Director of Member Engagement and Workforce Development at the South Carolina Hospital Association. And I'll share a little bit more about SCHA in a bit. I received my bachelor's degree from East Carolina University, that's up in Greenville, North Carolina, in health education and promotion with a concentration in community health. This is the place where I learned that I wanted to be in healthcare, but I also learned that I didn't really need to be on the clinical side of things because I passed out while shadowing about 4 different surgical procedures. So it's a pretty clear answer for me on which side of healthcare I belonged on versus clinical or not clinical. After graduating East Carolina University, I went on to pursue my master's in health administration from the University of South Carolina. While in graduate school, I realized that I really wanted to gain as much experience as I could because I wasn't positive which specific area of health administration I wanted to focus. So I decided to volunteer for about 10 hours a week at the Hospital Association. They were great partners with our grad school program, so I learned a lot about what they did and got really interested in working with them and collaborating on a few different things. So after a few months of volunteering for 10 hours a week, I was noticed by one of the members of the leadership team, and that individual asked me to work with him as a graduate assistant while I was in grad school. So long story short, we worked on lots of cool things. We did emergency and disaster preparedness, workforce efforts, some advocacy, regulatory things, and I got a lot of great experience and met a lot of really nice and great professionals in South Carolina. I ended up being offered a full-time position upon graduation at SCHA, and that leads me to where I am now, here talking with y'all about healthcare careers in South Carolina. So let's go ahead and get to the fun stuff. For a little bit of information too about what SCHA is and what we do, we are a private, not-for-profit organization, and we were founded in 1921. So we've been around for 100 years. We are very excited to celebrate our 100th anniversary this year and celebrate all the great work that our members have also been doing for many more than 100 years. We represent approximately 100 member hospitals and health systems. So if you are in South Carolina and you see a hospital, they are a member with us. All hospitals in South Carolina are part of the Hospital Association. And in those hospitals and health systems are about 80,000 employees that we also get to work with. And it's our job to serve as the collective voice of South Carolina's hospital community. We work with member hospitals and their employees to partner and create a healthier future for all the communities in our state through advocacy efforts, innovation, and collaboration. So during this presentation, I'm going to touch on a few things for y'all. We'll talk about industry needs in South Carolina, some career opportunities in healthcare, tips for students who are already interested in healthcare, as well as partnership opportunities that exist and resources if you know you're interested in healthcare but may not know exactly what you want to do. So the big question here is why healthcare? And there are so many reasons why this is a good industry to enter as a student in today. One of the biggest reasons why healthcare is great is the industry need right now. Healthcare is the fastest growing sector of the US economy. And as an industry, healthcare employs over 18 million people. That's a lot of people. Healthcare is also projected to add more jobs than any other occupational group right now, growing from 15% from 2019 to 2029 and adding approximately 2.4 million new jobs. So that's not filling roles that already exist. That is 2.4 million new jobs that currently do not exist. So that's a lot of room for growth. The American Hospital Association, which is our national counterpart, collects information regularly as well and recently shared with us that hospitals support 16.5 million total jobs in the United States, which comes out to be about 1 in 9 jobs. So every 1 in 9 people you meet works in healthcare. US hospitals also support almost $3 trillion in economic activity. So again, a lot of financial stability there, a lot of need for all different kinds of jobs. And what does this mean for you as a student? So, I'm throwing around all these numbers, all these statistics, and you're probably like, what does this mean to me? For you, it means stability and security. By working in healthcare, you have a great opportunity to jump in and find a career that is in need right now. In South Carolina, it's not anticipated that that need is going to change anytime soon. Over the next 25 years, it's expected that the population of individuals who are 65 and older is going to double. So this will only mean even more security in the need for healthcare professionals. People who are over the age of 65 typically need more healthcare and a broader range of services. So again, that it just increases the need here in South Carolina. So if you take only one thing away from this presentation, I hope it's the next part that we're about to cover, and that is that the career opportunities in healthcare are endless. In healthcare, there are so many different career paths available to people, each with its own unique facets and pieces. When you're thinking about different jobs in healthcare, consider a few of the following things that I have listed on this slide. The length of schooling or education needed. Not all careers in healthcare are going to require you to go to school for 8 or more years after high school, like medical school does, right? So if you're a doctor, you have to go to school for 4 years in an undergraduate degree, and then you go to a 4-year program in a medical school. And not everybody has to be a doctor. If you want to be a doctor, that's wonderful. We always need doctors. But you don't have to be a doctor to be in healthcare. You don't have to go to school for many, many years after graduating high school. In fact, some professions only require the completion of a certificate program, which can be done at a technical college or another location. Others require 2 or 4 years of additional education beyond high school. To become an RN, a registered nurse, you can get that degree at a technical college, or you could go to a 4-year university and get your RN BSN, which is a Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So lots of opportunity there. Patient interaction is also something you may want to consider. Not all careers require an individual to interact with a patient day in and day out. And it's really important to think about how comfortable you may be working with patients all day, or if you'd maybe prefer to not work directly with people as much. Anticipated salary is another important thing to consider. Healthcare careers vary in their projected salary. So this is an important factor to research and think about, what kind of lifestyle maybe you have right now and what kind of lifestyle you would like to have when you get a little bit older. Interaction with blood and fluids, I kind of alluded to that earlier in my own experience, but some careers interact day in and day out with blood, needles, and other bodily fluids, while others have no interaction whatsoever with any of these things, like mine. My job, I don't deal anything with blood, fluids, needles, none of that. So think about what you're interested in and what you're comfortable with. And then the last thing on the slide is the work setting. Working in the emergency department or the ED is very different than riding around in an ambulance as a paramedic. Similarly, working in a physician's office setting versus being stationed at a desk is a very different experience as well. So by having some awareness or knowing what type of work setting you are going to be happiest in or most comfortable in, it will help narrow down a lot of the career options. There's a lot going on this slide. I'm sure you can tell. There are actually about 32 healthcare professions listed on this slide. You may notice that there are many professions here that are not just a doctor or a nurse, which is really the point that I want to hit home to you today. Those are 2 of the most common career paths that people think about when they think about careers in healthcare. They are not the only career paths for healthcare professionals. Everything you see listed on this slide represents varying levels of education, salary, patient interaction, and so forth, everything we just discussed on the previous slide. And as you can see, all of these careers are very different. Some are based in a lab, some spend more time in a physician's office style setting, and others have the opportunity to even build long-lasting relationships with their patients. Others deliver life-saving treatment to those in need of critical or emergent care, and others are more of a long-term care plan kind of career. So you see things on here like an occupational therapist or a physical therapist or a behavioral health manager or a case manager. All of those people are going to get to know their patients a little bit better and work with them longer than compared to, the emergency room doctor who will probably only take care of that patient once. So just another thing to think about. Some of the careers are in red, and these are careers that you may have heard more about recently during the COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, many of these careers didn't end up in the spotlight as frequently. However, now that the public has been exposed to the critical roles that many of these professionals play and have always played in patient care, we have started to use this increased awareness to highlight really how important it is to see that it's not just the frontline workers necessarily caring for the patients. There are many members of the patient care team. Although all of our care team members are very important. Just wanted to note that there are more people than the team members that you see directly in front of you. So for example, if you go to get a COVID-19 test, let's say you're at the hospital already, the doctor or the nurse may be the ones doing the test and providing you with the results, but more often than not, it would be the clinical laboratory team who's running that test and giving you the results to hand to the doctor that they'll share with you. So they are the people who kind of work behind the scenes in the lab. They've been the people who helped us figure out what kind of lab supplies are needed and equipment is needed to run large amounts of COVID-19 tests every day and all sorts of things. So that was just one example on the slide. Of all the careers that you just saw on my previous slide, plus many others, these are all included on our career profiles on BeSomethingAmazing.com. This is a career exploration tool for students, guidance counselors, teachers, parents, and many others. So through the website, we share blog posts, career profiles, videos, a career starter tool, and even something that we call a how to get there guide, as well as many other resources that help increase the awareness of all the varieties of healthcare careers out there. We usually aim to add about 5 to 10 new career profiles each year to keep the content fresh and updated. And all the information on the site is based on South Carolina data. So the videos you see are real South Carolina healthcare professionals that work in our healthcare systems and hospitals across the state. And the salary data that you see is also directly from our hospitals. So SCHA actually conducts a compensation survey every year, and we use that information, some of that baseline data, to update our website and make sure it's accurate so that it is a reliable source of information for you. We're also in the process of adding additional resources for students and hospitals, teachers, and counselors. So even if you've checked out the website before, be sure to check it out every couple of months and see if there's anything new, any new blog posts or anything like that that may be of help to you. So some tips for students interested in healthcare, which I know all of you are probably since you are at this conference. So you may already be familiar with some of these, but if not, here's just a few things to consider. Research all the different career options available. Even if you know that you may be interested in something specific right now, I encourage you to just go, do some research, check out all the options available to you. It may surprise you how unique some of the careers are in healthcare. I challenge you to think beyond the traditional or more well-known careers. Obviously get involved with healthcare-based or related school organizations like HOSA, which again, I know you are because you're here with us today. I would encourage you to job shadow or volunteer at a local hospital. So that might be challenging right now during the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of hospitals have had to restrict access to non-essential personnel, but just check back with your local hospital or doctor's office and see what options are available to you right now. There's no better experience than getting out there and seeing it for yourself and kind of getting a feel for how things run in a hospital or a doctor's office. I also encourage you to take healthcare, health sciences courses, science, math-related courses, anything like that, that usually end up being prerequisites for healthcare programs. And also, we want you to research in-state schools that have a program or track for your career path of interest. So we want you to stay in South Carolina. There are a lot of great schools here that have many different healthcare-based programs that you can enter. So check all those out. Many of those are also linked on the Be Something Amazing website. We include links to programs that are associated with specific careers on the website. And then very importantly, research entry requirements for programs that you're interested in. You don't want to think that you're interested in something and then get to high school graduation and realize that, you don't know what you need to have done volunteer-wise or by taking certain courses to get into a program. So become familiar with that. And then again, talk to as many different health professionals as you can to learn about their career, their story, how they got there, and what they love most about their jobs. So just to touch on a few resources here, I've got a picture of 3 things here. One is our How to Get There guide that I referenced. That's on the Be Something Amazing website. It's perfect for high school students. to just kind of go through and check out and see if there's anything you haven't done on there yet or you haven't thought about if you know you're interested in working in healthcare. Again, if you know what you're interested in, be sure to research that specific career path and entry requirements for certain college programs, if you know that's what you want to do, so that you're very familiar with that and make sure you get everything done that you need to do. If you're not as familiar with what you may want to do, or you don't have a specific career path of interest, but you're you're interested in healthcare and you want to be in healthcare, check out our Career Starter tool. It's essentially a quiz that kind of walks you through everything we talked about earlier. How long you want to go to school for, how much money you think you want to make, how comfortable you are working directly with patients or with blood, needles, and fluids and things like that. And based on how you answer that quiz, it will auto-populate certain results for you at the end to check out. So again, that's why it's super important to check out the website every couple of months or pretty frequently. We always add career profiles, so your results may be different based on when you take the quiz. And then another thing I have here on the slide is the Occupational Outlook Handbook from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is a lot of words, but it is a really good resource for some national data and information. So again, not necessarily specific to South Carolina, but it has some great data, really brief descriptions of a lot of different healthcare careers. So be sure to check that out as well if you know that you are interested in working in a specific career, or again, maybe if you're just looking for more information on healthcare careers in general. So here's my contact information. If you have any questions or if you want to know how to get connected to your local hospital, maybe for some volunteering or shadowing opportunities and you can't find it on their website, which you should be able to, so check it out first. But I'm happy to help make connections or really help answer any questions, do whatever I can for y'all. If there's something you think would help that we could add to our Be Something Amazing website, please send that to me as well. So again, SCHA is here to help support SC HOSA and all of our students across the state. I appreciate you joining me today for this quick session and look forward to hopefully seeing y'all again in person soon. Have a great day.